So first of all, congratulations everyone on having your film premiere at TIFF. So how does it feel?
It feels amazing. A little strange, like we were just talking about, that there's a bit of a disconnect in terms of, just this new configuration. But yeah, Toronto, this film festival being included in the Planet Africa 25 program it's the slim selection of films having a space. Like, we're blessed, we're lucky, we're grateful, and we're very happy that, we have a launching pad.
What does it mean to you as local filmmaker as well as actors to have a platform such as TIFF to showcase your film?
Well, Tam's a local actor, so maybe we can start with him.
So it's pretty cool. Like I see ads for it just on the street, like during this time, like all the time. And I mean, like I've always wanted to go. It's like Toronto International Film Festival. It's one of the biggest things that we do at this time of year in the city ever. So like, it's pretty cool. It's like next to like, I don't know, being playing a game at the, Rogers Center as a Blue Jay or something like that, except for actors. So, I mean, it's really exciting. Yeah.
What about you, Saul? You're talking to us from LA today, but how does it feel to kind of virtually be in for TIFF?
I mean, there's of course a great deal of respect for this film festival globally. And so it's a huge honor, for this film to be in competition there. I think it means a lot. Also to see Charles as a director that I've been a friend and fan of for quite some time, being honored in his hometown, because I realize how difficult that is sometimes, and the weird game that's played at times when something is home brewed. And so I think it's a huge honor in those regards as well. Aside from that, then we have to speak to the times. And so it's also particularly strange to be officially banned from entering Canada, but not because of my illicit activities, rather those of my president. I mean, it's that part is crazy. That part is actually like surreal. And so to learn now that there's going to be a beautiful outdoor screening and I guess maybe other members of the cast are going to be there as well. Are you going, Thamela, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh man. Is Donisha going?
Donisha's coming.
What?
I know, it's terrible. Our our leader is yeah.
This is so crazy. It's
right?
So crazy. So I'm highly honored and then kind of peeved as well, because I could use an escape, from this quarantine, from all the smoke that's in the air here in California. I would love to come just breathe the air, please.
Yes, for sure, definitely. I guess everyone will probably miss you at the festival for tomorrow's screening. But I just had the pleasure of actually watching the film. It's really well done, and I love that it's being part of TIFF. Charles, I heard that it took about a decade for you to make this film. So can you talk a bit about the journey and the challenges you faced when it comes to telling stories in Canada about the Black experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's thank you for asking that question. It's been a journey, and I don't want to bog it down with some of the crap that happens all the way, but there is a theme, and there's that I've learned from it, and that we're experiencing now, and we're having this sort of conversation right now about lack of representation and lack of individuals who see and evaluate and value our stories and from a particular lens. Yeah, it's been a challenge with this story because when you're young and you have an idea. 10 years ago was a different stage of my growth, and you relinquish a lot of trust to those around you. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of individuals who saw this story and understood it in a way that helped me elevate it in a way that wasn't what their perceptions of what it should be. So I made a vow at a certain point at a crossroads in the process and said that I will not make this film until I know how to produce it on my own. And I was stubborn with that that decision, and waited until I gained some experience, because I do believe that also the feature film medium, not that, you know, documentaries and whatever, it's just, it's a sacred form. You ask so much of people. You write something on a page that could be a, you know, a paragraph, and you have, you know, 80 people, 60 people, all these people running around trying to make it real for you. That's a lot to me. I can't separate that ask from the creative process. So, and there are some stories that you can relinquish perhaps to someone else's hands, and this one was one that I couldn't. So I had to gain experience, learn how to raise finances on my own, and well, with my partner Jake, but at the same time, you know, trying to raise one of the financiers that came in on this film. Was literally set on, when they gave us the green light on their end, that they're looking at the cover of this newspaper and they're like, wow, this film is so relevant right now. And I had to remind this person that I wrote the first draft 10 years ago. So the stories that are in our bones that we want to tell, especially here in Canada, like, you know, it was challenging in a way that, you know, I had more and faster and more interesting responses from people in America on this project.
Oh, that's very interesting. So so has a lot changed with the script wise for you when you first started it to how it's ended to the final product?
Absolutely evolved. It evolved because it was very epic and large. I went to Jamaica. There were scenes in Jamaica. There were scenes, a lot more scenes in New York. There were scenes in Toronto. It was a, you know, a diasporic journey, you know, that I was trying to create. But again, you know, in Canada, telling stories with Black leads in them, and the question of, you know, the size of this project. So I spent a lot of time shaping it down and also working with Motion. She came on to co-write it. And, you know, at a point where I was actually quite frustrated with the process, you know, because, you know, some folks would be like, they would read the script and they see that I'm in these places, but they'll say, well, why don't you shoot it in Sudbury, Ontario? Well, because it's set in Toronto and it's set in New York, and it's actually touches Jamaica. That's why I'm not going to go for a tax credit, you know, to shoot it and get like, so they can give me less money to make a film in a place where I can maximize tax credits and not tell an authentic story. So that is not, to me, the process of making authentic films. And so there was a resistance to how we were going to approach it.
When I was watching the film, I was looking at Akilla Brown. What actually influenced your perception of the character? Was there anything that really informed your role?
Yeah, you know, well, you know, first, you know, I think the greatest credit is due to Charles, and as he mentioned, Motion, for writing a beautiful script that answered a lot of questions that normally as actors we are trained to pose, you know, about the upbringing of a character, the trauma that the character may have faced, their childhood, the relationship with their parents. All of these things were already in the film, already in the script, you know. And so I had an innate kind of sense of what Charles was trying to, the kind of story Charles was trying to tell, and also appreciating the subtlety in the narrative, appreciating that a lot of what we were going to get from this character was as we spent time with him without him necessarily speaking. You're in the car with him or what have you, and you have this sense of who he is, meaning that a lot of the story is conveyed through the eyes and through body language and what have you, and which is something I really appreciate for a character and for a film. And so I think, you know, from there, it was, you know, spending a lot of time with the script and with the story, and thinking about this sort of fact that this guy was, you know, kind of like a samurai in a sense, you know, and that he had, you know, these strong abilities in terms of violence and self-defense and all that stuff, but it wasn't necessarily a place he was trying to go unless it was absolutely necessary, you know, and appreciating that, appreciating that and kind of focusing on that sort of Zen quality written within the actor. I mean the character. That was something that opened a doorway for me in terms of the depiction of Akilla.
Thamela, you were fantastic when it came to playing these two totally different roles. I was like, oh, this is the same guy. What was your research and preparation like?
Well, it was one of you know, a very like collaborative, very you know, involved, just trying to, you know, consult with everybody, because, you know, a large part of the acting when you're on set compared to when you're auditioning is that you kind of have to create the scene for yourself when you're auditioning, and when you're there on set and all the pieces are put together by this huge ensemble of different people that are trying to consolidate like this one vision. It really helps you get immersed in, you know, what you're supposed to be doing to convey the role. So to prepare for like these various roles, it was just like, okay, make sure you have your lines down, talk with the director, see what he needs to say, because Charles is a super involved, like on set, like, oh my gosh, like how many just assists that I was getting from him being there and, you know, being very precise and direct, because as you can see, you know, with him in motion on the script, they worked on it together. So he has a very like clear idea of how he wants everything to go down. So, you know, I hit him with a question, then I get a response, then I can start to get a feel for how this person is in contrast to maybe the other character that I'm playing. But I mean, in the script, they're kind of being made to seem as like very similar people. Like they're supposed to be made out to be very congruent with one another. Being that older Akilla is kind of envisioning himself through the shepherd character. So, I mean, there are some similarities between them that make it a little easier for me, but it's large in part to the ecosystem that's present on set when you get there, and just being able to adjust yourself to that, and calibrate from what's going on around you. Yeah. So that's the main thing that happens.
So I was going to say, if you could describe your collaboration with Charles in one word, go.
Oh, that's so tough. Why would you do that? I'd say like involved, or maybe it's just intimate. It's just very like personal, you know? Because even when I got the script, like it was done in a very, you know, relative to how Charles does things. It was very like Charles. It was very, you know, I come up to you, I have this idea, you know, I think the world of it. And of course that starts to infect me, because now I'm starting to think the world about something I haven't even read yet. And then I'm like, oh, dang, like, you know, there's substance, there's so much there for me to work with. And, you know, there's so much going on. I can't wait to see like what it looks like when the pieces are actually like present. So yeah, I'd say involved. It's immersive, very immersive.
I'll throw the same question at you, Saul, describing Charles.
Synergy, you know. It's my favorite sort of mutual recognition in a relationship, so that, you know, it's not even much that needs to be said at times. It's just a mutual, intuitive sort of grace and understanding and trust, you know, that's like, yeah.
Okay. And lastly, I have to say this was definitely a fantastic film, and I'm hoping everyone gets to see it. What kind of message, what kind of conversation you want hoping to start with viewers when they see this film?
Yeah, I think it's a conversation about Black experience, Black boys, Black men, you know, the ways that we can identify in the traumas that are around us, that are being inflicted upon us. And I think it's a way that we collectively can find a way to escape it, you know? And so I think there's that message of really paying attention to our next generation, our responsibility to them. So yeah, I think that would be it.
Thank you so much, the three of you, for the chat, and wishing you all the best for the rest of this festival. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for watching the film, taking the time to talk with us. Really appreciate it.